Haunting of Willow Creek, a ghost story from rural America. Decades ago, in the small town of Willow Creek, tucked in the rolling hills of rural Ohio, life moved slowly. Cornfields stretched for miles, and the townsfolk lived in modest homes, their lives bound by hard work and tight-knit community. Among them was Ruth, a 16-year-old daughter of a struggling farmer. Ruth was bright, kind, and beautiful, with dreams of leaving Willow Creek for college. But her family's poverty made that unlikely. To ease their burden, her parents arranged her engagement to a wealthy, widowed storekeeper, a man in his 60s. Ruth accepted, wanting to help her family, even if it meant giving up her dreams. But something dark was stirring in Willow Creek. Young girls, all from poor families, began disappearing, one every month. At first, the town whispered they'd run off with boyfriends, chasing dreams beyond the fields. But no boys went missing, and the pattern grew unsettling. Fear took root. Parents kept their daughters indoors, but the vanishings continued. Ruth's family grew nervous, murmuring, "Will she be next?" One stormy night, Ruth vanished. Her parents searched desperately, combing the fields and woods, but found no trace. The town assumed she'd run away, like the others, and moved on. But Ruth wasn't a runaway. She woke in a cold, damp basement beneath an old estate on the edge of town, her hands bound, mouth taped, head throbbing from a blow. Above her stood a man she knew, Mr. Harlan Prescott, the town's wealthiest landowner, a respected figure who donated to her family's church. She'd called him Sir out of respect. Now, his eyes were cold, devoid of kindness. Prescott confessed a chilling truth. He was performing a dark ritual, sacrificing 11 young girls to gain power over death itself. Ruth was his final offering. In the estate's shadowy cellar, by a fire pit, he chanted strange words, his face lit by flickering flames. Ruth begged, tears streaming, but he didn't falter. That night, her life ended, her screams swallowed by the dark. Her body was hidden, and the town never knew. But Ruth's soul didn't rest. Trapped in the basement by a ritualistic seal, a rusted iron door marked with strange symbols, her pain turned to rage. She vowed revenge on Prescott and his accomplice, a local handyman named Amos, who'd helped lure her to her doom. Years passed, and Willow Creek buried its secrets. In the summer of 1985, Nate, a 12-year-old boy from Cincinnati, arrived to spend the vacation with his cousins in Willow Creek. His grandfather was Harlan Prescott, the man who killed Ruth, but Nate knew nothing of this. To him, the town was a playground of fields, barns, and adventure. The Prescott estate, now abandoned, stood on the outskirts, its windows boarded, its yard choked with weeds. One sunny afternoon, Nate and his cousins played hide-and-seek near the estate. Curious, they slipped inside, ignoring the no trespassing signs. The air inside was heavy, the walls scratched with odd marks. Nate found a hidden trapdoor in the floor, sealed with a rusted chain and a faded cloth. Ignoring his cousin's warnings, he pried it open and climbed down into the basement. It was freezing, despite the summer heat, and the air felt wrong, like it was holding its breath. As Nate hid, waiting to be found, a cold hand grazed his shoulder. His heart raced. "Who's there?" he whispered. A soft, broken voice answered, "Why are you here, boy?" It was Ruth's spirit. She told Nate her story, her dreams, her betrayal, her murder by Prescott, and her soul trapped by his ritual. She spoke of her pain, her stolen life, and her vow to punish her killers. Nate, scared but empathetic, listened. "I'm sorry," he said, his voice trembling. "I'll come back." Ruth's presence softened, touched by his kindness. That night, the town buzzed with fear. a woman at a church gathering began screaming, her voice not her own, claiming to be Ruth. Nate's aunt, who knew old folk remedies, performed a ritual with sage and prayers, driving the spirit out. The woman collapsed, unharmed, but whispers of a curse tied to the Prescott estate spread. Nate overheard his family talking. His grandfather wasn't the saint the town revered. He'd been a monster, responsible for the missing girls. The next day, Nate snuck back to the basement, heart pounding. "Ruth," he called, "you want revenge, but Prescott's dead. So is Amos. They got sick years ago, died slow. Why punish their families?" Ruth's voice shook with anger. "They took my life, my future. Why should their kin walk free? You're Prescott's grandson, aren't you?" Nate nodded, unafraid. "Yeah, but I'm not him. I want to help you find peace." Ruth paused, her rage wavering. His sincerity stirred something in her, but her pain was too deep to let go. That night, her desperation surged. She possessed Nate's mother, standing in the town square under a flickering streetlight, her eyes glowing. The townsfolk froze as she spoke, accusing Prescott and Amos of murdering her and 10 other girls. She demanded their heirs face her. Nate's uncle tried to intervene, chanting prayers, but Ruth's voice roared. "You could have stopped him when the first girl vanished. You turned a blind eye. Now I'll take my justice." Nate stepped forward, voice steady. "I'm his grandson. If you need someone to punish, it's me." The crowd gasped. Ruth could end him, freeing herself. But she looked into his eyes, clear, brave, innocent, and faltered. "You're not like him," she whispered. "You're good." Ruth released Nate's mother, who collapsed, unharmed. The spirit vanished, leaving the town in stunned silence. The truth about Prescott's crimes shook Willow Creek, shattering his legacy. Nate's family locked their doors, fearing Ruth's return, but Nate felt a strange connection to her. She wasn't evil, just broken. Before leaving Willow Creek, Nate returned to the basement. "Ruth," he said, "I know what my grandfather did was wrong. If killing me frees you, I'm ready. But I believe you won't hurt me. You're not a monster." Ruth's voice trembled, spectral tears in her words. "Your grandfather was a devil, but you're different. You heard my pain. That's enough." Nate promised to return the next summer, forging a quiet bond with the spirit. He left, but Ruth lingered, watching the town, her anger now mixed with hope. Years later, as an adult, Nate returned to Willow Creek. He'd never forgotten Ruth. With the help of a local pastor, he held a ceremony at the estate, burning sage and chanting prayers to free her soul. The basement's chill lifted, and Ruth's voice whispered one last time, "Thank you, Nate. I'm free." Ruth never faced her killers. They died long before. Prescott of a wasting illness, Amos in obscurity. But Nate's compassion gave her peace. Some say her spirit still lingers in Willow Creek, not vengeful, but watching. A reminder that kindness can heal even the deepest wounds. What do you think of Ruth's story? Was her quest for revenge justified? Or was her pain too great to let go? Got a ghost story from your town? Share it with us, and let's keep these tales alive.